Hello out there. You're here with John Thomas Gillum. I'm sitting here in the places where I'm usually at. It's a Starbucks, which is where I hang out at quite a bit. I started hanging out at Starbucks years ago when I was working at Walmart, and particularly Walmart. And I was going there frequently when I worked at Moss Brothers Ford, but I never really hung out there during that time, mainly during over the last several years. But anyhow, you're here with John Thomas Gillum, and I am still currently without much of nothing except for my tiny home. I've been applying for work since 2008. I applied for work and got no luck with any jobs since 2008, and I applied for many. There's no understanding within myself as to why I haven't gotten an opportunity at any of these jobs that I applied for since 2008. And I have a good work record. I work my butt off everywhere I work, but since 2008 I got no job. And I'm pretty certain there's another party that's done everything they can to keep me from work and everything. Most of everything. I mean, I haven't gotten no justice through Walmart. I suffered a hernia. I'm going on my 8th year with this hernia that I got from Walmart. Never got a nickel from Walmart, and all I wanted was the unemployment insurance and the surgery. That's all I want. I didn't want nothing more than that, and I got nothing. Absolutely nothing. I communicated it to Walmart on a few occasions more than that. I filed for my unemployment insurance few years ago, applied an appeal, filed an appeal on top of the appeal, and when I showed up, as I said, and I've repeated this story a number of times, the manager, Mary Ann, at that Walmart, at that Sam's Club, showed up at the law to see the law judge because he had to go to the appeals court. When I was at the appeals court, and she told the law judge that I never told her about the injury, and she lied. And a lot of times when I say this, I get the funny impression that she seems to think I'm lying, and I am not lying. I told the truth. I got nothing, and there's nothing I can do. That's not my responsibility to see to it that people's rights ain't being violated in America, and people are getting justice when they've been done wrong. That's not my job. And to add to this, I never had any criminal charges at all until the age of 44. That's odd that somebody wouldn't have any criminal charges till the age of 44 that's supposed to be some druggie or whatever. And I do not do any drugs at all. I don't involve myself in no drugs, and I'm not an alcoholic. I don't drink liquor throughout the day, or I'll occasionally a beer, but I'm not an alcoholic at all. Not involved in drugs, not an alcoholic, and I don't harass people for nothing. And here I am at 48 years old, still trying to figure out when I'm going to get the things I deserve and haven't gotten, and why it is that if you're a police officer like them, I hate to keep repeating this, but as a police officer, you expressed all this joy with having Chris's middle son around. Wouldn't you yourself find it odd that somebody who's not involved in anything criminal, never been involved, never partook in any of that in his youth and into his 20s and 30s, why somebody like that wouldn't have one of the many jobs he applied for and is currently living on the street? My guess is the only reason why you wouldn't support seeing why that is because perhaps it's your will for me to be where I'm at today. Perhaps it's your will that you came into the life of Christina Eve McCurry to manage to get the blood of John, and when you got the blood of John, you've done everything you could at a subconscious level to program John to turn against himself and create problems for John and live the rest of your life with John's divine blood, and then use your many sons that you got out there, your offspring, to wage war with my mind and soul. That's what I think, but of course I could be crazy and I could be wrong. That's certainly, but anything that I express that somebody else says I'm being dishonest about, I don't have any problem at all with taking a polygraph. I want everybody out there to know I don't have no problem at all with taking a polygraph. That's important that you know that. I have no reason to lie about anything. I am guilty of petty theft. I have stolen petty theft, and it started at the age of 44. So that's most important. If you've got things on me that are out that, and you keep those things. Keep those things noted. Whatever you got that involves me since a young age, you keep that all noted. You keep all that noted, and whenever, if you're ever wanting to, take me before a trial. That would be great. Bring all your evidence, and I've got to speak in my behalf, and I got to speak my concern about a situation that I had when I was 21, where a woman that I was hanging out with, or a friend of mine that I was hanging out with, when we went to her house to do a little partying, she swore, I hate to keep repeating this story, she swore up and down she'd seen me peeking through her windows that evening, and it was not me. And so I would hope that you would do everything you can to make certain that everything you got, if you got anything on me, that's actually me that you got now. That's important. That's a process that you really need to, well, it's a responsibility of those who gather evidence and press charges or not, well, yeah, press charges, gather evidence, arrest, and go through that process. It's important that you know whether or not that's the case, because I know clear back in 2006, when I had a white Volvo, I was pulled over by a sheriff in the city of Fontana, and he questioned me about a hit and run. And there was never a follow-up on a hit and run. Nobody ever came to my address that I had at that time, which was Hunter Street. Nobody ever came to that Hunter Street house and questioned me about a hit and run. So I don't know why that wouldn't be, but that kind of concerns me, that and some of these other things that are repeated times I was harassed on my bike in the city of Fontana, just minding my own business in Fontana and Rancho Cucamonga. When I was lawfully recycling, you harassed me quite a bit, a little bit more than what should have been done. And I had an incident. I never had any interest for any guns or knives. Never had from birth. I just not into guns and carrying weapons and having weapons on me, because there's no need for it. There's nothing that I've done that would justify my need to take up a defense for my action and walk around with knives in my pocket or guns or whatever else. I got an old pocket knife that I got in an antique store, or I didn't get an antique store. A guy was selling his antiques that he had, and I got an old pocket knife that's a thick folding blade below the lead, but right around, it's probably a 3-inch blade, I don't know. It's below that, and then I found another one actually just the other day, and it's a little Swiss knife with all these little gadgets on it. And it wouldn't harm anybody with it. But yeah, I never had an interest for none of that, and I hope that you would explain that. And maybe the police officer my mother married, God bless him, maybe he could explain why it is that Chris's middle son didn't lose his virginity till the age of 36. I don't know if he's got if he can give any insight on that, based on his training as a police officer, his years of experience in reading books and working for the sheriff's department for years, a narcotics task force, chief of the school police in Fontana on 2 occasions, I think, maybe even took over a police department that I wasn't conscious of, and maybe a little FBI work. Well, I know he done a little FBI work, and a little, maybe even, secret. He was a Secret Service agent for Ronald Reagan, so he's got an extensive past. And I'd be wondering myself what kind of information he can get on why he would think that somebody who's never had a drug problem, is not an alcoholic, never involved himself in any criminal activity, and the first time he ever had a criminal charge was at the age of 44, I think, 44 or 45. He lost his virginity at 36 years old. And he experienced some things in the late 80s, experienced a whole lot of weird things over the last several years of my life. Like somebody clubbed me in the back of the head when I was sleeping with I don't know if I was struck with a pipe, crowbar, what happened to me when I was sleeping. I was living in that garage over there in Frankfurt. I don't know if perhaps you're not true to that law you served for so long. I don't know. I can't speak for him, but my gut tells me that he may not have been. Because if you're true to that, you would have to sit back wherever it is you are currently and say to yourself, something just ain't right. He's never had a drug problem. He's never had an alcohol problem. Never involved himself in any criminal activity. He's not involved in any organized crime. He's got petty charges, and they didn't come about until the age of 44. He's applied for a multitude of jobs since 2008 when he walked off of Sam's Club, and he still hasn't got a job. You've got to be able to. You got to sit there if you've got a decent mind, unless you you lost it at some point or something. And I know that I saw all the signs there between you and my mother back in the 80s that you were practicing that ability to activate the human psyche. I seen that clearly in the 80s when I was living there with you guys when I was going to high school and junior high. I seen that. I seen all the signs there. Now, I mean, you should also, if I'm right, you should be able to activate that and come up with something in my situation. But it makes no sense. It makes no sense that I seek things and I get very little for somebody who's deserving of much. When I worked at El Pollo Loco for 10 years, I worked at a fast food restaurant for it was either 10 or 11 years I worked at a fast food restaurant. And often when I was there, I was always waiting on that bigger opportunity when I worked at El Pollo Loco. I literally was killing myself at that El Pollo Loco, believing that what working extra hard would get rid of all the insanity that came about through the things that I experienced in my adolescence. Tie strap around the neck, oleander poisoning, lead poisoning, being molested, and everything else. That all creates that insecurities and those fears growing up, particularly when it happens in your adolescence and in your teens. And I was dealing with all the insanity as a result of that. And I was scrubbing the floors and really going further than most people would at a fast food restaurant for 11 years. And they finally fired me because, of course, it's a story that I've repeated over and over, that they claimed that I wasn't following the policies, is what they said. I think they realized that John was no longer happy there, and he didn't seem like I had an interest for other work in that El Pollo Loco, but they just didn't offer it to me. Offered to me a manager's job once, and it never came about. And I hate to talk about something that happened nearly 18 years ago, but I think it was about 18 years ago. Right, yeah, about 18 years ago. That's exactly right to date, probably. And I hate to keep bringing it up, but you know, and I don't have no hateful feeling towards them, but I worked my butt off there and literally killing myself, mixing all these chemicals together when I'm cleaning, which was not policy at the fast food restaurant. They were very good at posting all the chemical MSD material and all that. They were very good at that for a fast food restaurant back in the 80s. I'm sure a lot of them were probably not real good at that, but they were very good at that. Anyhow, and I just literally killed myself for 11 years down there, subjecting myself to chemical combos that could have given birth to cancer. If I would have stayed there and continued to work with these mixing those chemicals, I could have very well easily gotten cancer. But like I said, I've been to the hospital off and on for God knows how long, and I've never, ever, ever have been diagnosed with cancer of any form. I've been diagnosed with a little pneumonia going on, strep throat infection. That was because I wasn't brushing my teeth as often as I should, and I was smoking. Or no, actually I wasn't smoking at that time. I wasn't brushing my teeth frequently enough. Nothing. And, you know, when things went sour, and it just seems like the schizophrenia of the 80s. I mean, I suffered schizophrenia for a long time. I've been through an awful lot. I mean to tell you, I have suffered God awfully. I'm telling you right now, if you let your God, whoever your God is witness to whether or not that's the truth. That's all you can do. Because I can tell you that I've been through this, and this has happened, and this has happened, and they've done this, and this has happened, and it can all be a line of bull crap. It can all be a line of bull crap. You got to count on God. You got to have a witness come down from that heavenly realm of some sort to witness whether John, what he speaks, is the truth or not. That's the only way. Because nowadays particularly, they've got it all figured out. They know how to. A lot of these crooks out there, they get loaded on that methamphetamines, and they're like psychics. That dopamine in their brain, that chemical dopamine increases from all that methamphetamines, and they develop this psyche, and they're literally able to walk up behind you and pickpocket you without you knowing. It's because they're on that dope. And so you got to be careful and watch for people like that. And they can create situations and try to, you know, make it appear as though you're a bad guy when you're not. And it's important for the police to really know and be in tune with those kind of things. And but like I said, I can tell you, I can testify all these things that John's been through, and it could all be a big lie. And people know that. The police are familiar with hearing lies all the time. I ain't got no dope on me, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. There's proof that says the contrary. So, and that's the job of I'd rather be honest. There's no sense in lying. I'd rather be honest. There's no sense in, like I said, I would be more than gladly to take a polygraph. I mean, sometimes that's the best way to get a quick way to find out whether or not somebody's being honest, rather than go through a big, extensive, expensive investigation that could take God knows how long. Polygraph. And the important thing to ask when you take a polygraph is to make sure, have you acted as anybody else at any point in time in your life? And are you whom your name is? Are you John Thomas Yellen? Or are you so-and-so, so-and-so? That's the important thing. Make sure you're getting the truth on whether or not you're questioning a person that you believe is whom they are. That's the important thing, because you can have anybody. I remember when I was in Fontana, this one chick that used to hang out in Fontana. She was all right. One day she was on the streets and she was talking about a double, and I didn't understand exactly what she was saying. For years I've gotten that. And then I've had people actually tell me, there's a guy who looks just like you right here. In Fontana, I had a couple of people tell me that. So it's important. The best way to find the truth is to an investigation and to speed it up and get a polygraph maybe, because that's how you it's cost effective. I mean, if the polygraph proves that the person is being honest on things, then you don't have to be that extensive in the investigation. Now, if he proves that he's dishonest, then you could quickly come up with the case you need to convict. So I think that's the best thing. But here I am at 48 years old, and I've applied for a lot of work and gotten no work at jobs. And for a while there, all I was told was, if you get anything, I'll take it from you. Multiple times. This person says he'll steal anything from me if I get anything that'll better my situation. And for the life of me, I don't know how any police officer could support something like that, but you probably got reasons for that. Whether or not what the information you've been given to justify that is accurate and truthful, that would be yours to decipher and figure out. And I know that for years I was put under the impression that we're keeping a close eye on you. When I was digging in the trash cans and removing recyclable goods, I got the impression from all those times I was pulled over that we're keeping an eye on you. So, not that I was concerned. I mean, you're welcome to keep an eye on me all you want. You're welcome to maybe you can keep an eye on me and keep an eye on me right till I get a job. I mean, and even if you wanted to maybe put an ankle bracelet on me, just so you know where I'm at in case something comes up. You never know. In case something comes up, because wouldn't be worried at all with wearing an electronic device. Not at all. I wouldn't be worried about wearing an electronic device at all. I mean, if it's going to help you out in determining whether or not there is somebody that's playing the role of John, that would certainly help out, and that's one way I wouldn't have any problem at all with that. If you can, maybe if I can wear it, maybe you can honor my right to maybe the $200 I'm getting in food aid and maybe $200 in cash, $400 package a month, and I'd be pretty satisfied then, and maybe just a little field somewhere where you can allow me to park my trailer. I think we'll be all right at that point. I think we'll be all right at that point. I'm just trying to avoid what felt like just a literally set of holes drilled, like somebody came in there and some disgruntled, I don't know, I'd been shot in a couple cases where it literally felt like I shot. I don't know what happened to the back of my head before I left that Fontana house garage with that version of Ron that was living there. I don't know what version of Ron that was, but I'm just glad that I'm no longer, I'm moving back there, but I'm not going to move into his garage. I'm going to move back to that area is what I'm trying to do. Trying to get some work, and when I speak this, suddenly I look at myself and I'm seeing I'm getting a funny feeling right now of a particular person I grew up with by the name of Randy James. The name Randy James is coming to my mind. I don't know what, and I said that as I was speaking. I don't know what is apparently he had a daughter. I know at some point he had a daughter like Jeff, and I don't know if his daughter died at some point, and he wanted to subject me to what happened to his daughter, which would make no sense at all. Why would you come against an innocent life for your daughter passing away or your mother or whomever? It doesn't make any sense. I think it's important to know the truth here in America, and I think that needs to, the only way you can do that, I'm guessing, is through a good, thorough investigation, and don't always count on somebody who served in law enforcement as well as for giving you accurate information. Not everybody that wears a badge is going to give truthful information. Not everybody is, and I'm not suggesting, like this morning, I was enraged over my situation. If the police officer was getting his cup of coffee, heard me and said it sounded like he was a little venting a little bit. It seemed like he was venting a little bit. And if he said that, he's right. I don't have no reason to lie, like I said. But it's important that you can't always assume that everybody that's had a career in law enforcement is being honest. We know that not everybody who wears a badge is honest. They can call you, they can do whatever they do, and they can tell you that they're being honest, but they can be found to be dishonest. And the one thing that's important to recognize here is, a lot of police agencies in California require a polygraph as part of the process to get hired on as a police officer. So I don't see why there would be any concern with not accepting that on my part to prove whatever it is that is believed that I knew or I was involved in or a part of or conspired to do or whatever. I don't see why you would want to do that to find the truth. I mean, you rely on that in the hiring process. A lot of the police agencies require police officers to take a polygraph. And if you fail the polygraph, you lose the opportunity to become employed for police. Now, it may not work in the criminal courts. And the criminal courts may not accept it, which is a little weird that the courts would approve of law enforcement agencies requiring that as part of the hiring process, but not accept it as evidence in a case. But that's just the way the courts work. And I'm not in a position to. I'm nobody. Is what I am. I'm nobody. I'm nobody, but I'm one hell of a. You've used me for a hell of a scapegoat. And I hate to be so critical of the president, our African American president. Man, I never imagined myself after voting for Barack Obama suffering the way I have for years. I've had more worse experiences since he was president than any of the other two presidents. But I had a weird experience when George Bush was the president. The Bill Clinton years weren't too bad. I was working at a Pollo Loco at the time that he became the president. I remember that. And but I haven't had it. So I would think that you would want to make a real good, thorough investigation. And if you believe John's gotten things that he's lying about, like I said, the best way to find out is take a polygraph. If so-and-so says they handed you a certain amount of money or a check and you took it and now you're saying you never got it, the best way to do that is to take a polygraph, because I've gotten no justice in my life. Maybe through God in some means, but outside of God, outside of God himself, I've gotten no justice through any avenues here in America where you would exercise your right to some justice. I haven't got none. Not a nickel. I haven't. And it's important that if you don't believe that, to find the truth, to give them a polygraph. Find me out and let's sit down and let me get wired up. Let's get to the bottom of it all. That's what I think should be done. And but that's up to those who really are in it to see to it that people get justice, or those who've been done wrong get justice. Those who justify their actions because of a deceased family member, their daughter's passed away, their mother, their father, one of their brothers, or whatever the case may be. I think it's important that that justice prevail, basically. I don't believe in giving anybody the rights because they've been conditioned at some psychological level to accept something that isn't the truth, because it's all for the better of all, to protect somebody else who's guilty. So I think that it's important often to really find out what's really going on and what's really been going on. why somebody who was posting, why for the longest time I posted ads on Craigslist, and I was hooking up with males. I was playing that gay thing. I was exercising the homosexual thing, which it really didn't. It wasn't me, because it never did I ever feel like that belonged. That's the way I should be. Never. Never. All those homosexuals, I'd done that homosexual stuff, and I didn't really discriminate against too many. I started getting picky as time went on because I was concerned with, getting a disease, or I was just too. I didn't want to continue to just do sexual things and not develop a relationship. But in regards to preserving a part of myself or making sure that I don't have anything that belongs to me in a situation, I would never deny anybody the right for me to perform a sexual act on them or for them to perform one on me. Never. Never. You don't do what I've done for my life to make it better to not agree to a sexual thing to preserve your life. No. You created a situation where you made it impossible for me to trust anybody. You've taken every bit of the value that I had from birth, and you've just beat up that value over a period of years. I mean to tell you, years. You've raked every bit of the value of John from John. You vexed his soul. You sent a man who I think was sent in my path just to trouble my soul and vex him. But he didn't do it by no physically beating me up. He didn't do that. He just took advantage of my situation at the time to get where he got. He's nothing but a peon. He's nothing but a peon, and he is what he is. Along with some of these other people I've met. You are what you are. And that's just the truth. And I don't mind taking a polygraph, I don't mind taking a polygraph at all. And as far as any involvement with those Walmart tires that got stolen from that Walmart over in Rancho Cucamonga Foothill, I never stole a single tire from that Walmart, and I'll take a polygraph. Matter of fact, I never stole nothing from Walmart when I worked there. The only thing I ever did, I believe, is take a little bit of those halfway used quarts of oil when they used to do most of the oil changes with oil quarts before they started pumping it with the big containers. I'd take a little bit of a half-filled motor oil quart. I think once or twice I did when I worked there, but I would certainly love to take a polygraph. And that'd be a good thing, to give me a polygraph on whether or not during my career at Walmart, when I worked there, not after I left there, when I worked there, did I involve myself at all with stealing anything from Walmart? I'd love to take that polygraph. Now, if you asked me to take a polygraph, have you stole anything since you left Walmart? Oh, God, I'd fail that god-awfully. I've committed petty theft at Walmart on several occasions, and I got incarcerated on a couple occasions, not for an extended period, but the average time that somebody gets for petty theft. And so I won't lie about that, because that's right. But remember this, I never imagined myself ever coming to a point in my life where I'd have to commit petty theft. Never. Not to survive, never. Because I knew I can work. I've overcome a lot of things. Schizophrenia, that was terrible in the 80s, man. When I was working at El Pollo Loco, I thought everybody was watching everything I was doing, heard everything that was going on in my head. It all started in that one experience in the late 80s. They don't know if it's almost like somebody literally raked the blood right out of me. Literally, like they had been trying for the longest of time. And in my youth, I don't know if that was the cause for why I dropped to my knees, to my feet sometimes because of a back problem. Years ago, it was as though somebody was trying to rob all the energy of my soul from me, and I'd literally fall to the ground because of a back problem. I used to have back problems all the time, and it was like that. It was like the energy of the soul was being yanked from me. Like somebody had been trying for years, and they might have successfully been able to get my blood in the late 80s, because that's when life changed for John. John, against my will, against the peace that I had within myself, I got my job at El Pollo Loco in my 20s. The peace of a 20-year-old who wasn't involved in nothing, was doing the occasional marijuana smoking, and I experienced with methamphetamines a couple of times, but never got addicted, never even had the money to buy any of that stuff. But I occasionally used it, but it was, and then suddenly in that late 80s, it was, I don't know what to, but all of a sudden I was no longer a free thinker. No longer had the ability to be a free thinker and live with the promise of free will. I was being convicted with everything in my head, being tormented. It started in the late 80s. Matter of fact, in 2006, what was voices that I was hearing years ago in 2006, it kicked into it even more. For years, they were always there, but seemed like it got more intense in 2006. This is after suffering oppression in the late 80s. I guess nothing I invited. See, and that's the most important thing that I say. If your right to have inner peace and have a clear mind is violated by some oppressive force, then your right to being a free thinker is taken from you. Your thoughts are no longer your own. Your thoughts are being influenced by whatever oppressive force it is. Now, you couldn't say, well, I've robbed some people back in the 90s in Vegas and shot up a couple people in Vegas or some other place, and well, I wasn't a free thinker. You know, what can I say? The devil got in my head and I shot a few people. What can I say? Yeah, that defense doesn't work. Never, nor did my actions ever come to the point. Like I said, I never ever had an interest to own a gun ever, or a knife. Never. Even despite the insanity and psychological warfare that was taking place in my life since the late 80s. Never involved myself in taking it out on somebody else, and shooting up a group of people. Never been involved in any homicide, nothing like that ever. Never. And of course, much of what was in my head wasn't suggesting that at no point. There was no suggestion to that. What it was constant convicting me for all my thoughts. You won't get a job here. You won't be able to do this. Your dick is too small. You're not. Well, of course, I didn't lose my virginity until the age of 36. So that gives to the smoking gun of that truth. And another thing that gives to the smoking gun to the truth is when I was given a used diesel Volkswagen Rabbit. In my 20s, I was given a used diesel Volkswagen Rabbit, and I welled in tears over getting that used car. You got to say to yourself, those of you who are familiar with or understand what happens to a person when they suffer what I suffered in my adolescence, and there's something going on within John that was convincing. Of course, I had already been working in a Pollo Loco too, because I had a brown Pinto and I traded it, took it to the junkyard for the diesel Rabbit. And I had been working at El Pollo Loco, and I welled away in appreciation and tears for God knows how long after getting this used Volkswagen diesel Rabbit. And there was nothing in my life that would give to such an overwhelming response to getting a used car. Nothing. What that suggests is whatever come over the life of John in the late 80s was programming John to believe that he wasn't worth nothing, that his dick was too small, he doesn't deserve nothing, and he needs to just suffer all his life. And if you get a car, they must be nuts for giving you a car. Even despite there wasn't not a single criminal charge on my record till the age of 44 years old. Wasn't involved in anything that would justify. That's the effects that this whatever oppressive forces was that got into me and was working on keeping that divine blood of mine. And it was turning me against myself and literally creating a situation where I would accept that oppressive force as my own identity. Because that's the goal. Once a demon gets into your life and a demon possesses you, it wants to possess you and convince you that he's a part of who you are. So that way when somebody tries to free you from that, your attitude towards them is, you're an enemy. You're coming against my life. Because that demon now becomes a part of the person's identity. They've been possessed by it for so long. But lucky for me, I opened up books. And I educated myself, and I now realize that much of that's been going on for years, turning me against the better part of myself for years. Mind intrusion for years. I'm telling you, mind intrusion. And again, I must point this out. Never, ever had I had an interest to own weapons. That didn't start till 2010, when I believed a Mexican had an interest in stabbing me. Why doesn't Jeffrey Michael Gillum, if Jeffrey Michael Gillum may be telling someone, why don't you confess, Jeff? Why don't you confess, you or Ron, or don't you have enough sense to say, there must be something wrong here? Unless you got something to hide. I mean, there's got to be. There's got to be. That expression in the late 80s from getting that Volkswagen diesel Rabbit, That was a lot of emotions expressed over getting a used car. What was going on internally within John that convinced him he didn't deserve it? What was going on there? Maybe an investigation will find that out. Anyhow, and places to start with, I worked at El Pollo Loco for 11 years. I worked at Paradise Building Services. I worked at Redlands Elks Lodge. I worked at LJ Snowford, that later was bought by Moss Brothers Ford. I worked at Walmart Incorporated, over that Walmart on Redlands, Redlands, Rancho Cucamonga on Foothill, and I worked at Sam's Club in Rancho Cucamonga on Milliken. I've got fingerprints, I've got DNA, I've got I've got a history where it could be. I've got medical records. That's important to check on those medical records. Everything's there for a good, thorough investigation. And whatever is discovered along that path, that's good. I want it to be discovered. The quicker I can get some sort of restitution or a civil penalties paid to me, the happier I'll be. That means I can start a life. I can probably outside of this area because I don't want to stay here no more. It just hasn't been any good for me in the state of California. It just hasn't been. And I might be better off in Texas, or if it doesn't work out in some other state. I think less population, a place with less population can allow me to calm myself and my spirit down so I'm not all. But places where I can go and do what I normally do, which is I like to go to the hardware stores, Home Depots, Starbucks coffee shops. I'm not that big on public libraries. When I was going to that one Fontana library, I used to like hanging out there only because, I met a couple of people down there that were pretty nice. But for the most part, I don't. Libraries are not always that good, and a lot of the people that went down there that were hanging out those libraries when I was hanging out there, a lot of them, they used to love the little kids section. They used to love hanging out there with the little boys and little girls section. I didn't really have an interest for that area because hanging out with kids is not all that. They're small kids. Their happiness comes between the way they entertain themselves. I couldn't find myself when I was going to that Lewis Library to hang out in those areas because I just can't find entertainment and that's not a good social environment for me because kids communicate on their level. But unlike a lot of those other guys I hung out with, a lot of them used to go, particularly that I think that retarded guy, and there was an African American guy also used to hang out there. They used to frequent that child area quite often, maybe for reasons that I can't explain. You would have to find that out through an investigation, maybe some polygraphs. And the libraries ain't that important to me. I only go there because I can see a bigger screen. That's the reason why I go there. Because with this little cell phone, and I'm looking at it, 4-inch, I need a big screen on occasion to look at, to get on the internet and watch some races and do all those kind of things. But I invite a big, thorough investigation. You make it thorough. Go clear back to the 80s. Just get real thorough. I got plenty of medical records out there. If I'm telling you anything that's untrue, then now if you sold out to something that's untrue in my case, then just say to yourself, we accept what comes with that. Just whoever you are in America, just say you accept what comes to that with that. That's an important thing, but you're welcome to a thorough investigation. DNA, fingerprints, any woman or minor that claims that I forced sexual things upon them. I've got, I don't know what you call that. I'm so used to DNA, semen, I guess is what it's called. I can produce that. Perhaps it's very valuable semen, and perhaps that's why don't have any kids. Make good sense that the devil would keep a man who's got the ability to produce good offspring from having any sexual intercourse. It makes good sense, But I know it sure comes out like it normally does in any other male, I'm guessing. I had one particular younger gay male that used to find it very enjoying. back in Fontana. I mean, he's the only one that was kind of appealing because the way he was you can easily replace him. You can easily replace a housewife with him. I mean, he'd fit the role as a housewife really good. But anyhow, he's gone on, or he claims. Years ago, he used to email me. Way back that he moved to New York. My gut seems to think that this double, this inferior person that's done everything they can to keep me from everything in life, and date clear back, that this person may have purposely had him convince me that he had moved to New York because he wanted to butt fuck him and do everything that he was doing to him. I don't know. I don't care. I mean, hey, you cast your pole out to catch a fish, you catch a fish. I got enough confidence in myself back then, particularly, even despite what I didn't have, that I can catch my own fish. I didn't have to follow around and see what everybody else is getting and seek out what they're getting because I couldn't catch my own fish. But I can't speak for that person, you know. And but I get the impression that maybe some of these males, well, one of them that I met also on top of him that I met years ago on MySpace. It was either MySpace or Craigslist. Oh, no, MySpace. I believe it was MySpace. Yeah, MySpace. And he had come over, and then it wasn't there too long thereafter, he started really going weird. I even got the impression that somebody else might have had him plan to shoot me one day. And this goes in line with what took place years ago when I went to those illegal street races. This was way back when I had a Saturn. I was racing at the illegal street races in Fontana and Rancho Cucamonga. Some of the Fontana police and Rancho police in those areas will tell you that back in, this was like 90, let me see. This would have been 2006, 2005, somewhere in there, I think. So I got I think I got my white Volvo in 2006. So it would have been 2004, 2005. I'm sure some of the Fontana police and the Rancho police said there was quite a bit of illegal street racing that was taking place on some of those streets in those areas, and off of Commerce, I think it was, and some of those other streets where Swift trucking companies at. A lot of those streets are heavy duty illegal street racing. I was involved in that with my Saturn, and I forget where I was going to go with this, but dating clear back then, at some point I was at the illegal street races, and I pulled up to get into a race, get in line, because they used to have a line where you'd get into race. And I pulled up, and there was this Honda Accord with four. Back at the time, they looked like they were all Mexicans, but that's what they looked like. They all had brownness of a Mexican. Now that doesn't mean, you know how people are. They learn how to coat themselves in that brown stuff, play the role of somebody or not. But I believe they were four Mexicans, and one of them got out of one of the rear passenger doors. I can't remember exactly where I was part of the time, and he had a 9mm, a handgun in his hand. He got out of the car and went around the car to come shoot me in my Saturn, but I went ahead and drove off, and I waited about a half hour, 45 minutes, and I came back because I wanted to get back into street races. I didn't have any reason for why I needed to hide out, or which I never have. Never hid out for anything that I'm supposedly guilty of in America. Never at any point have I hidden out. You might say, well, why did you move from where you were? Wasn't having any luck over there. I filled out a number of applications. I should have got the job at the Fontana Harbor Freight Tools. Didn't get that. Should have got the job at that AM/PM. I filled out an application over there on Citrus and Slover, I think it was. Should have got the job there. And I went to some of these jobs and hit them up. Should have got that job years ago. And, I filled out so many Starbucks, fast food restaurants, a ton of places. Never got a single job. Never got a single job. And the real smoking gun is when I was lawfully recycling with that little plastic trailer that said Earth Preserve. And I had my phone number on there. I rode that thing around 20, 30 miles a day in Rancho Montana and never got a single phone call. If that ain't reason to do an investigation, I don't know what there would be. But that's up to you. You don't have to do nothing. You can do what you want to do. I mean, it's it's one of those things where we either support the laws we make or we don't. You know, that's the way it goes. But anyhow, but yeah, and I get the impression I hear this person quite often say, "I'll take anything you get, anything that comes your way, I'll take it." And I have no control over that. That would be the responsibility of the body, the people who enforce laws here in America, to see to it, whoever this individual is, it's come against my head and whatever part of me. And I don't know why that Randy James seems to come to mind, but I don't owe him nothing. I hope the best for him. And as a matter of fact, I prayed for those Jameses when I was getting into that Christian thing years ago. I was praying for those Jameses because I felt kind of bad. They were living on the streets in Las Vegas, getting loaded. Of course, they were doping it up. And I can't be responsible for anybody I grew up with who suffered a loss, whether it be a family member or a financial loss or property loss or whatever you lost. You can't fault me because I don't know of any reason where I would be found guilty for your problems or your losses. That's the bottom line. It would suggest a conscious decision on John's part, premeditated or just a spur of the moment decision that John done something that would have led to a loss of another. And I can't think of that. But an investigation is the best way to determine all whether or not somebody's guilty, had their hand in, was a part of, aided in, conspired, or whatever. That's all. And in my rage, I get out there and I cut down a lot of people in my anger. When I'm having a bad day and I know my situation should be far better, that's just the way I get, And it's just, I know what I've suffered. I've suffered some weird things. I mean, particularly when I'm sleeping. Particularly when I go to sleep is when it happens. That head trauma, I don't know what happened to me in my head in that garage. And of course, a lot of these things I say, I get the impression that there's some radio host out there that likes to play the role of, maybe he's a prophet. Maybe some of these radio DJs are prophets and can see into the future. Because it's interesting that he suggested one thing and it would seem like I experienced that very thing. Or maybe he's one of those people that try to manifest situations for people because you're jealous or your fairly gorgeous wife left you because you're stupid and ugly or whatever the case is. I don't think he's stupid and ugly, but I mean, I don't know how somebody who never knew, never conversated with, never had a relationship with, how suddenly that person could somehow become an enemy. It makes no sense to me, but maybe that's maybe I got the worst ignorance of all, is what it could be. Maybe but it's not really ignorance. I mean, there's no action ever in your life that would justify the need to hide out and bear weapons, then you won't. And I've had no interest in bear any weapons. So people who twist the truth to the degree that you may be twisting it, understand that, what you get is what you get. And that makes good sense. Bad karma, you can avoid the bad karma using your psyche. I think that's something that started with Cain. I think Cain, at some point, he was introduced or figured out how to stimulate the human psyche, and he avoided, instead of having the mark that wasn't going to cover his ass every day, that he probably had the ability to see into the days to avoid what may have been creeping along the back for his actions toward his brother Abel. I don't know, but I sometimes think that that's quite possible. But anyhow, I sit here and every day is a hope for far better than what I've had. And I'm able to accomplish quite a bit, but quite often I feel a lot weird often. But I'm gonna tell you, I don't know what happened to me in that garage and everything. The truth is out there. Ask God to bring a heavenly body down, because God knows everything. Father God, there ain't nothing you can get past Father God. I mean, I had a couple experiences that I knew he was like, he had eyes all the way around. It it was an amazing experience. I've had a couple experiences where I felt that there's no way in hell you can fool God. God the Creator. You couldn't fool Him. I don't care how slick you are. You couldn't fool Him. He's got to know whether or not somebody knew what they claimed they didn't know, or whether they knew what they know. That's where you need to tap into the truth. But anyhow, that's it for now. And, I just updating people. I'm not much of a hater, but people create that in you because when you get in the way of somebody getting justice, you look at everybody like they're behind it. When you vex the soul and the person's third eye is no longer working, then how can you discern whether or not? It's like if I praise the good love of Canada and Canadians come my path and I look at them with an angry, disgustful look and try to take a sword to them, I would never do that if it would be a matter of not being able to identify somebody because of the trouble you put me through, not being able to see a friend from a foe situation. And so when somebody might get a bad impression of your first experience with you may not be valid. This is what's happened to me in America here. This is what's happened to me in America. And like I said years ago, I can't think of any crime. I can't think of any. You know what? Even quite often I'll go somewhere and when I'm opening my backpack, on multiple occasions, people are waiting for me to pull something out of my backpack. I don't know why that would be in people. To me, sometimes I think it would stimulate that as you must be aware of something that should have never been, that's led to a feeling of guilt, I guess, in these people, where sometimes when I go to reach and dig in my backpack, it's like they're all waiting for me to pull something out, like a knife or a gun, and start shooting or stabbing people. And that's not even across my mind at any point when I open my backpack. So there must be something that's happened that's led to a guilt or something in people, particular individuals that I've come across, that must know of something that was of a murderous degree, and they must be waiting for me to pull out a gun or something. And I guess revenge. I don't know what it would be. I can't speak for what other people do, but I can speak for myself. And I don't mind taking a polygraph, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. The investigation needs to be thorough and extensive. Anyhow, I sit here and that's it, just wait for something. I applied for Social Security. Well, when I thought, with the schizophrenia and my bad luck with work, I was suffered tremendously off and on when I worked at Moss Brothers Ford. I mean, there's days where I felt like I was dragging a bear behind me and suffering heart surgery and weird stuff and I'd still go there and bust my ass every day at that place. And even when I worked at the casino, I forgot the casino, San Manuel's Casino, I worked there. That was a wonderful experience. I had a traffic ticket that led to me getting dismissed because you can't have anything on your record to work at a casino, an Indian bingo casino. They want you to have clean nothing, no tax problem, no IRS problem, no problem with this or that. They want you to be clean credit strong. And they found a traffic ticket, and that's why I lost a job at the casino. But that's right, I worked at the casino. It was less than 30 days, I think. And that was a wonderful experience, and that's when I had my white Volvo. But so an investigation's the best thing to do. I don't know why I don't know how. Well, I can't speak for people. I keep my mouth shut, I guess. But you can't allow yourself to be walked all over and keep your mouth shut. I don't suggest anybody in America or anywhere, for that matter, to in a case of injustice, to sit back and just. I've been done wrong. I've been done wrong. I wouldn't suggest anybody do that. Speak your mind. I mean, you have the right to speak your mind, and that's what should be. And anyhow, that's all I've got to say for now. I'm just sitting here and Wait for things to change. I don't want much. At 48 years old, I'd be satisfied with a piece of property that I could put my own fence up. I could build me the Great Wall of the Great Wall of Rome or something, like the Roman emperors used to build their big fortresses. If I could just build me a nice big wall, put me a tiny home on it, and a couple $100 food aid, and maybe just a couple $100 to keep the utilities up. That's all I need. I mean, you don't even have, I applied for Social Security disability twice, and I got denied twice. I went through the process myself. So, well, the first time I filled out everything incomplete, but the second time I didn't fill everything out complete because I don't remember what the case was. But I figured, one time, second time, no luck with the unemployment insurance, no luck with the jobs. Like, well, you sort of train people to accept a no or to accept something that you shouldn't accept, but you train them to accept that. That's how you do. You bring that about through a process of psychological condition somebody to accept things they shouldn't have to accept. And I've educated myself, and now I know what's going on. So once you know, you can no longer accept it. Once you know, you can't sell yourself out to be to play the role of a Jesus for other people who want your blood. It's like you could probably find a real, honest to God, born saint, and you could probably literally condition that saint to spill his blood and accept death for you, so you can live with his good blood. I've educated myself. I know what's going on, and I'm looking for change and never giving up. And I got my strength. It's there. I don't have the ability to stimulate a fitness membership, and I'm going to head back to 24-hour fitness here. Hopefully, if I can get some money together to go to a 24-hour fitness. I don't want to go to those anytime fitnesses. I don't really care for the guy who owns the one nearby where I'm at. He acts weird. Went in there one day and he says, "We're closed." And I said, "You're closed?" "Oh, okay. I was going to pay to work out." And then suddenly he changes up. And now they're open to pay to work out. And then I ran into a couple times after parking my tiny home there overnight. And I was gone by shortly after the morning and thereafter the business closed, or the surrounding business closed. And he didn't like that. So I accepted. Hey, no problem. That's not a problem with me. But you're bad for business. You got your attitude. It's no good. And I've noticed that lately. A lot of people got shit, or just. It's not them. I think it's the negativity here in America. Nobody seems to be happy with their jobs. I go to places, managers at the fast food restaurants look miserable. Starbucks is amazingly good. No matter what, the employees at most of the Starbucks are usually pretty cordial and pretty enlightening. Not all of them. I had a bad experience with one employee at another Starbucks where the woman just flipped out and ran out and told me I was loitering. And most of the people when I go there, people that are there when I get there and they're still there when I leave. And they're not loitering, but she says I was. It makes no sense to me. I don't care to go there anymore either. That's her deal. I don't care to go there anymore. Anyhow, so people's attitude is god awful, man. Nobody seems to be excited at work. Nobody's excited and got that excitement for serving for serving people or selling a product for somebody or nothing. I mean, I go to Carl's Jr. nearby where I'm at, and one day the district manager was in the Carl's Jr. and he looked like he was depressed. He's sitting in there, and then he had to get up and literally train one of the employees because he was just kind of dragging his feet. I wouldn't have, if I'd have been the manager at that Carl's Jr., I'd have said, you need to pick it up, do no more detail cleaning, and get underneath the tables. This dude was just walking around. He had nonchalantly wipe the table off, and then he'd walk to another one and look around, and he'd wipe the table off, and he'd walk to another. Finally, the district manager got up and started moving the tables to get him to sweep underneath the tables. But the district manager, I would have never known he was a district manager. He just didn't have that zeal and excitement to be working for Carl's Jr. He just looks depressed. He looked like he was just wasn't happy anymore working for Carl's Jr. And finally, he got up and got the employee to start doing a little more cleaning. I mean, he wasn't cleaning underneath the tables. They weren't cleaning, and now it's a lot better than since I've been going there. I guess somebody's got on him. I guess the manager, the owner has got on about employees. But I was surprised at this manager. And even Del Taco, I went to Del Taco the other day, and the Del Taco manager had a shitty attitude. And even when you look at them when they're working, they look like they're angry because they're serving customers. I don't know why. I mean, I look like that, but I'm not serving anybody. But once I'm in a position, that's when my attitude changes significantly. Of course, you make new friends too. That's the one good thing about having a job. That's why the devil doesn't want you to have a job. He knows that the more friends you make, the more positive emotions you create within yourself. That's the more he has to work against to keep you under his feet. Makes good sense why he wouldn't want you to have a job. Anything that's positive, he wants to rake and beat up, take from you, and I know that for a fact, too. And unfortunately, some people can't recognize it, and other people can. But what I've recognized off and on for quite some time, always created a struggle within me because I realized what I got the impression needed to be done kind of went with what America's been about for so long, but. I don't know, but anyhow, people are just not as excited as they use it. And even, I take that back. Not all Starbucks employees. Some of them are shitty. Some of them look like they're angry and miserable behind the counter. But some of the females are somewhat nice, no matter what the day is. They seem to be decent. I don't know. Some of them, they're all kind of shitty. I'm giving too much good luck to them. They're all shitty until you hand them their money. Hand them your money. Boy, have I spent a lot of money in Starbucks, some of which was when I was working. I spent a ton of money when I worked at Walmart, Moss Brothers Ford. Used to go get those big Java chip frappuccinos, and when I was working at the service department, I spent thousands of my money that I've earned over a period of years at Starbucks. For a while, then, when I was working at Walmart, they were making $10 a day from me at Starbucks. $10 a day. Now, if I went to Starbucks every day and spent $10, you know how much money that is? That's $280 a month I was spending at Starbucks. $280 a month at Starbucks. That's more than liability insurance for a car. That's half of a car payment on a real nice car today. I'm spending that every month at Starbucks for consistently $10. Even still, I spend $10 a day almost at Starbucks. While most part, for many years, it was coming from the job at Walmart, the job at Sam's Club, the job when I worked at Moss, the job when I worked at the casino, and these places that I was working. That's where even the money I get that people donate, or when I was panhandling, they were still getting $10 a day. And I was going to Starbucks. I go to Starbucks every day. $280 a month. Now, if you could get one person to do that every day, let's say you could get 280 more people to do that, or 1 million more people to go to Starbucks every day and spend $10. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But I spend $10 every day, and they make $280 out of me, whether it comes out of my pocket or if it comes from a donation. They get the most money out of me than any other place. They get more money from me than I get from Cal Fresh. They're getting $10 at least a day. Well, for a while there, they were getting $10. Now they get about $6 a day. But for a while there, they were getting $10, $12, $13 a day. This was consistent. $280 a month. That's a lot of money. 280 times 12. That's a lot of money. The math is, what is that? 280 times 12, that's like $1,600 or something a month. I think $1,600 a year. $200. Yeah. No. Take that back. What am I saying? $1,600 a year. No, I'm still wrong. $280 $280 a month times 12. Yeah, that'd be a lot of money a year. And if you had 5 million people doing the same thing, God almighty, you're making some money. They need to be careful though, because they give away too much with this reward deal. That's what'll hurt them, giving away those reward deals. But outside of that, I spent a lot of money at this place, and some of the attitudes are shitty at them, but not all of them. But I take that back; they're not all that good. But here, this one that I go to, they're all right. But some of them give you kind of a weird look sometimes. But other ones, my favorite Starbucks is the Colton Starbucks in Colton, California. I love that Starbucks. I don't love it for any particular person that works there, or Starbucks company that owns it, or whether it's franchise. I love it because I like the layout of that coffee shop. Plenty of seating room. It's always fills. The temperature in there usually for the most part it's relatively good. Lots of windows. I always loved that one. Out of all the many Starbucks I went to, that was my favorite. That was a favorite. I used to love the Citrus Starbucks. There's a lot of good chicks that work at that Citrus. That one, what's her name? She's far better than most, because none of them do what she used to do. She trained her employees, or I think she was the manager at one point. She trained them to, hi, welcome to Starbucks. Hi, welcome to Starbucks. Hi, welcome to Starbucks. Hi, welcome to Starbucks. And every time you'd walk in the door, they would greet you with, hi, welcome to Starbucks. Hi, welcome to Starbucks. They don't do it. None of these other ones. None of these other Starbucks I go to. I think with the exception with one over, maybe Colton on occasion. No, actually they didn't either. Only that Citrus Starbucks that she worked at did she ever do that. And that always had a positive effect on people. Oh yeah, thank you. She's always, hi, welcome to Starbucks. Hi, welcome to Starbucks. Hi, welcome to Starbucks. Always happy too. Even though she might not have been, she still played the role pretty good, like she was happy. And she was real good at greeting all the people that used to go to her Starbucks. Really good at that. She had to send her around to all the Starbucks and get all of them to start doing that. Hi, welcome to Starbucks. It kind of makes you feel that you're valuable. Other than what you communicate at the register, it was as soon as you walked in the door. It was, hi, welcome to Starbucks. It's like, what is it? Ben and Jerry's ice, or not Ben and Jerry's ice cream. What is that? Cold Stone ice cream. Welcome to Cold Stone. Or I don't know what place that was, but there's a place I visited too where they've done the same thing. It really has positive effects on people, but they don't do that hardly at any of these other Starbucks. None of them. But that was only. I've been to a ton of them in San Bernardino. A ton of them in San Bernardino. Not all of them, but I've been to many Starbucks. But that one there, and of course, there's that real favorite one that everybody liked in Rancho, right out in front of Victoria Gardens, right there at the corner of Foothill and what is that? Foothill and. Slipped my mind what that street is. Right over on the corner of Foothill near the 15 freeway. Right in front of Victoria Gardens, right over down the street from Del Taco. It used to be next to Wendy's, but Wendy's closed down by the bank. That was one of the big popular ones. People hang out at that place like it's their home. They'll get there at noon and they'll still be there at 5 in the evening. I mean, that's got to be one of the most popular, of course, in Rancho Cucamonga. And of course, the one over there on Foothill or Baseline and Haven is another popular one. It's maybe not Baseline and Haven. I take that back. Haven and what is that? Haven and what the hell street is that? Haven and it's where the college, I think, is. If you go farther up to Chaffey College. Haven and Haven and Baseline, I guess. Yeah, I think it is Haven and Baseline. That's another real popular one. But I've been to many of them. One of the best ones I always liked was Colton. Colton Starbucks is just. I don't think they expected that place to do that good, but when you go there, the drive-thru in that place never stops. I don't think I can ever think of any time when I used to hang out at that Colton Starbucks, the drive-through would ever stop. That has got to be a multi-$1,000 drive-through at that particular store. I think it's because it's right near the freeway. There's a city hall, Colton City Hall, Colton Police Department, local fire department, a lot of businesses nearby. I don't know. I believe they changed where one of the Fontana locations are. Maybe it's doing as good as that one, but yeah, that was a popular place to go. I used to love going there. And but anyhow, I just sitting here, not doing anything, just doing my thing, just hoping, as I do. Never give up. Never give up. Never give up. I just don't always. I've struggled with doubt, and much of it stems from not having what I should have gotten. A lot of it stems from going down as a sinner. I fought the devil to go to the altar. I'll never forget that at Healing Waters Church in Colton. Years ago when I went to Healing Waters Church in Colton, I was caught up in doubt, and that devil was just working to get, or that biological demon within you. This is that oppressive force. Was telling me, don't go, and I fought, and I broke through it, and I went to the altar, and I still left that place a sinner. I went down with the for the sinner's prayer, and still came up a sinner. That doubt is the worst doubt to have right there, to have that aided. And so when you think you should get up, let's say you're sitting somewhere and you think you should follow some woman to the restroom, even though you may get a strong impression, I doubt as to whether the outcome will be what I would think it should be. I have my doubt. I'm more concerned about going in there and getting cited or incarcerated or shanked or something, or stuck in the back of the head or something. But yeah, so it's tough. It's tough, man. And so all you do is if there's a strong physical sign. And my eyes, the devil has a way of distracting me. At the moment somebody tries to signal me for something, he'll have me fixed on my cell phone or something else. I've never had a problem with doing any sexual things with anybody to keep peace or to preserve any part of myself. It makes no sense not to. It makes no sense not to. But it's just like you apply for a job, you don't get it. You got doubt as to whether your good is going to bring you any good return. You tried to get justice in your life on a couple occasions, you got no justice. You went down with the sinner's prayer, you came up a sinner. You get no justice, you get a doubt. It truly started, believe it or not, at a very young age. And the proof is that Volkswagen Diesel Rapid. Who would show so much emotions like I did over getting a used car? It was because at the time, everything that happened to me in my adolescence and the fact that I've ended up in working for nothing against that political, but that's not a career choice to be a fast food employee worker. That ain't nothing. But that was because of insecurities over the things that took place in the adolescence. That's why I did. But it stems from way back then. It would make no sense that you would aid or abet or add to that long struggle dating clear back to my 20s. And remember this, I had no criminal charge until the age of 44. That's something. An investigation may very well be the answer. And maybe God started putting things in my path to give me that value so I know that I'm worth something. Go ahead and follow that person. If it doesn't work out, at least you got things. If you get a sexual harassment charge or some type of charge for trying to enter a woman's restroom or something, you'll be able to at least enjoy the things you do have when you do your time for sexual harassment or whatever. But nothing. I've got nothing. That's the main thing. You beat somebody up, they don't even know they got a value that's being taken from them. You create an identity crisis that's been going on for years. And then you want to beat them up with the law. Makes no sense, but I guess a good investigation is the only thing you can do, man. I really do. But anyhow, I'll go ahead and post this on Facebook, and may God get to every one of us accordingly. You know, and I believe God has. I've experienced things that I think would have brought forth death in many, but I survived it. I had that experience in that garage. I don't know if the radio host can use his psychic powers to see into what may have happened to him, but I suffered something at one point, man. I tell you, some weird stuff, man. Woke up that one time in that garage, and it was like somebody struck me in the head or shot me in the head or something. And I got the feeling of angels coming down on my head when I was sleeping, like angels were healing or fixing something that took place on the back of my head. And what's weird about it is I heard this radio host on the radio. This was way prior, sometime prior to this. I don't want to say way prior, but sometimes prior to this, he was doing a radio host. He was saying, and the angels ascended upon him, and then all this stuff, and then to have something that goes similar to what he's talking about years. I don't know how long in advance before you actually experience that. You got to wonder, man. He must have good psychic powers. I don't know if he's got psychic powers or what he's got, or ability to prophesy. You know, I don't know. I don't know about this. Actually, I've never seen this dude before until just recently. I was on YouTube or on something, and it was talking about George Norrie or whatever the hell his name is that he uses on his radio show. And I finally saw what this dude looked like. I'd never known what he looked like before. I was under the impression he was some ugly old dude. You know, he was an ugly jackball, and his wife was this gorgeous woman that he didn't deserve. But I never saw him ever. The first time I'd ever saw him. Of course, I'll take a polygraph on that as well. Never saw his face before. I don't even know if that was him, but it's sure they say it's the guy who does the ventriloquist that does a late night radio. Talented man, but it said that he was that George Norrie, and that I didn't imagine. I thought he had bald head, freckles, and pot belly, and a gorgeous wife that he didn't deserve. But apparently not. I don't know. Anyhow, I just. But it's weird, that experience. It was almost down to the way he was describing it way prior. Just a lot of weird things. That weird things at those storage units I was staying in. Like somebody got in there after I had a couple 24 ounces and wrapped their hands around my throat. Oh, just weird experiences. Even here, I've had a few of those here since I've been in this area. After leaving that garage and having that head trauma, I almost thought somebody had came against me when I was living up on this in San Clemente, up on top of this staircasing. At one point, I thought somebody walked up there, and I don't know what could have happened to me, but of course, I got out of that area. I get it. Go down their area, and people start acting weird. They start to lose the ability to stimulate their dope, and then they start acting. You got to watch it. I don't concern them with them physically getting an altercation with somebody, but I'm worried when I'm sleeping. You know how people are when you're sleeping, and of course that dates back to the birth of humanity. A lot of people like to take advantage of other people when they're sleeping. You know, and some people go home to a secure house. Maybe that's why Donald Trump doesn't want to sleep anywhere but his home every day. You know, I don't blame him. I mean, but there's some people out there that, you know, it's always nice to have a little security. But if you're rich, yeah, you got all the security you need. If you're rich, you got all the security you need. I don't have nothing that's secure. I got a tiny home that you could take and easily destroy that tiny home, just like you could any house. You can bust through somebody's window and go in there and clobber them. Bust down their door and clobber them, you know. But anyhow, just every day is a hope for something better, and if the signs are strong enough, you can bet I'll follow it. But I don't like those. This is what I don't like. When somebody vexes your soul and puts you in a position where you got to give in to things you should have never had to give in to, but somebody else came against your life and brought you down to the point where you bleed when you should not bleed. And that person's out there. They're out there. And anyhow,
sitting here, and that's it for now. Thinking about, well, I want to get pedaled back to San Bernardino, but I'm worried my wheels will not make it. And there's too many road things I'm going to come in contact with between here and 70 miles. Potholes, pits, curbs, traffic. It's just going to be tough to assume that it's going to be free flowing everywhere from here to there, and I know it won't be. So, and that's a matter of trying to figure out how to. Well, I know how to get there. All it takes is money. Money gets you a U-Haul that you can do a one-way trip with, and I could be right back where I was at. But you try to get that kind of money from people nowadays, they're just terrible. I've got to be honest as I can. The most charity I've gotten from people, particularly from the church, has been the Catholic Church. Christians are just self-centered, self-Jesus serving people. They will not help you with nothing. I was riding up the street today and they were, "Hey, is that your stuff on the side of our church?" And it wasn't mine, it was some other person's stuff on the side of the church. They're just nasty to deal with. I don't care for Christians. I just don't. You develop that attitude towards you. I've been nice to Christians most of my life, man. I think that's what's led to the curse in the name of Christ, because of the dishonesty on some, and they're fruitless. They're fruitless. They really are. The fruits of their spirit is a loaf of bread and a T-shirt. If you said, "Hell, I need a U-Haul to get back to where I'm from," well, let me take you down the U-Haul place. They won't do that. Or my car needs this poor old woman had a truck that apparently, well, she can't tell. She's scrambled. She can't tell that. I don't think she's telling the truth about a lot of things. She says she's got 2 cars. If you got 2 cars, why the hell are you worried about building a little home out of wooden canvases? If you got a Volvo in Utah and a Toyota truck in Barstow, why the hell would you be concerned about things? So people come across and are real flaky with their stories. I'm done. I just want to get out of this area. God bless them. I hope the best for them, but I got to get out of here. It's just not working out in this area either. It's amazing that this country's got as many, well, not speaking of her, but so many people that just don't lack charity. And they carry that cross with them. It's a shame. You have got to. It is a shame. It'll choke you up. It'll choke you up to see these people. And they jump in their nice cars and drive away in their fancy automobiles and go to their 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, mortgage paid or the house is paid off homes, and you're walking down the street looking for a few bucks to get something, and they'll toss you out a 2-day near expiration date loaf of bread and a T-shirt, or a tube of toothpaste, a pair of socks, and a prayer Bible. I mean, just with the Catholic Church, when I've gotten there, they're pretty good at giving me, and that's just the mother of Christ, The mothers are that way. That's just the fruits of the womb of a woman. That's just the way a woman are. That's a difference. It helps you to see into something, though. You get good from Catholic Church who serve, who give much to the mother of Christ, Mary, and then you go to the Christianity who's all nothing but Jesus. They are often, I've never think I've gotten well, today I was shocked. Got a couple bucks, but usually they don't give you nothing. They'll laugh at you. Well, what they'll do is have an attitude like you've done them wrong. I think they need to find out who's done who wrong. And I guess the only way to find that is to ask God himself. Ask the God. Don't ask the self-Jesus. It's like the Bible says, you drove out demons in my name, you prophesied in my name, you done miracles in my name, but I did not know you. So if you're capable of doing that under a relationship with somebody who's not him, then you could be fooled. I went online to see, I go on YouTube and listen to some of these things. Some of these people, I think they might be off, but some of them might be close, but you got to wonder. You got to wonder if the throne might not have been taken over by somebody, by Lucifer at some point. But it's amazing, That is amazing, but Christians, I haven't. They may have given a double something, and then they look at me as being a liar because they gave to a double. But they haven't given me. I've asked for. The only exception I can say is Manny Brody or whatever the pastor's name was in Fontana who gave me the shuttle van that he had. Really nice, older African American pastor of the church. Gave me the thing. And maybe I don't know. Bless those. God bless you type of thing. Hopefully they got blessed at that church because it's really I don't know what it is. It's not actually a church, but they have services there, but it's not actually a church. But anyhow, that's the only time I'd ever gotten anything. That's the only Christian that I can think of that's actually given me something that, well, I made I got $300 off it, managed to buy a beat up station wagon that I drove around for the longest time. Till the motor blew because I got tempted to go fast on the freeway and floated the valve. And since the day I floated the valve, it fell apart. Otherwise, I think it'd probably still be running today. But I got tempted to go fast and floated the valve. And that's what happened with that thing. And then it stopped running completely. And I had to sell it to the junkyard, and then I've been on the bicycle ever since then. I've been searching donations. Evidently, this person's convinced that things that that I didn't know, and they claim that I knew these things. The only way to find this out, the truth, is through God Himself. He's the only one that knows the truth, and that's all you can count on. And that's it for now. And well, hopefully, our lives here in America change for the better. May God give to each and every one of us accordingly. That's all I ask. May God give to each and every one of us accordingly. Can we be fair with that? That's it. Put our hands up and say, I'm in agreement with that. Amen. So if you're greedy, if you've got, but yet you're resisting from giving, then may God give you little. If it means the church dries up, if it means you lose your job or something, then that's God's will for that to happen. In the Spirit of God, it happens. When another man claims that he's doing for God, oh, it's God's will. Well, it was God's will I did that. God doesn't. It'll come through the Spirit, no man plays the role of God. You play the role of God, and you get judged as such. That's a choice you make. But anyhow, so may God give to every man accordingly. I think we can all be in agreement with that. May God give to each and every one of us accordingly. Amen. Accordingly. Amen. Anyhow, that's it.